Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time, but I just thought a few remarks might be useful to people. First of all, saying Giada's book, I'm certainly going to get it. And from my point of view, I became the Southern Chair of the Monitoring Committee and also in charge of the implementation of the peace programme on the southern side. And I came in at a very inauspicious moment at the time of Canary Wharf. I was actually at a meeting in England at the time. And we thought at that time that the peace programme was gone, and that was the end of it. And I know Inez McCormick from the ICTU, who was on the monitoring committee, told us back afterwards that there weren't new contacts being made, but the contacts that had been made up to then, and that was only 2 years of the programme, were actually holding strong. And this was a great sign of stuff for the future. Also, the difficulty in that programme shouldn't be underestimated. It wasn't financed when it was adopted. The money wasn't there. There was money for a year or two there, and every year at the early stages, we had to go and get money and beat the Italians over the head to try and get money out of them, which they wouldn't part with. The other thing is that there was a difference in attitude, and I think Carlo has referred to it there indirectly, between the British and the Irish approach. The British were, first of all, they were net contributors, and they resented very much the Commission coming along telling them how to spend their money, whereas we were net beneficiaries, and it was EU money as far as we're concerned. The other aspect of the British-Irish thing is that we were a sovereign state and a member of the EU. The Northern Ireland wasn't. They had to go through the Department of Trade and Industry, and they didn't have direct representation at the main EU meetings, although they did do negotiations with the EU. And as a product of that, and a more general point about North-South cooperation and the influence of the EU, I don't know whether I'm supposed to say this or not, but the Southern Department of Finance, on occasions, they were in close contact with the North, that time and right through after my time. And if the North had particular interests, such as agricultural interests, it was very often that these angles were put at ECOFIN through the southern membership, which I thought was very good. And the other thing I think that Giada referred to, and we probably know it in slightly different terms, and this was an education for everybody, and particularly for the British and Northern side. The objective of the peace programme was a process and not necessarily a product. And the Northern crowd had bricks and mortar on their brain, whereas we could see what was happening. And the fact that communities were brought together, that there was cross-community action, even in my own way. I was Department of Finance, so I was the hated goblin from Dublin as far as the NGOs were concerned. But after a few years of this, we each tended to see where the other one was coming from and give each other the credit of doing what we were doing in good faith. And I think that again is a result of it. And the other EU part that's not necessarily stressed when you look at individual bits is the actual environment. I mean, the single market and all that sort of stuff that permitted effectively the development of an all-Ireland economy. I mean, you can see this in reverse now, where the problems are all coming up. So they're just a few remarks. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Paul.